Game one, Melbourne United, they steal one on the road. And we said before, welcome to NBL Now, by the way, they said before, whoever wins game one is going to go a long way to winning the series because that's just how these work with home court advantage.
They do, but again, it is a long way away if it potentially 5 games. They came on the road. They knew they had to steal one. If Melbourne United wanted to be a champion, they had to win one on the road because they finished second. But that second half, they're going to take a lot of momentum out of that. There was a great mastermind chess game from Dean Vickerman, I thought, in the second half. We saw Tanner Krebs go out there in the small ball lineup. He matched the small ball lineup that Justin Tatum rolled out with Days playing the 5. So both coaches were going at it on the sidelines in terms of different rotations. And in the end, Melbourne United came out with what was a very, very important and gritty win.
I thought there were 2 things that stood out to me. Rebounding, 54-39, that's major. And the job that Dellavedova did on Trey Kells. Trey Kells had 30 points the last time in this stadium, and Dellavedova just put that muscle on him, put that power on him, slowed him down. He was 3 for 11. He struggled, and when he struggled, they struggled.
We said this in the pregame when we were looking at it. Every success that Trey Kell had against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, that's not the same as going against Melbourne United's backcourt. We didn't see Flynn Cameron tonight, but you've got Delhi, you've got Shea Ili, where you're not going to get any possession off. And Trey Kell had one of those nights where he was very disappointing by his standards when they need him to fire. And Tyler Harvey just in single figures as well. It is a different beast coming up against Melbourne United's backcourt.
And it's also, when you come to game ones, they're often a feel-out game. Both teams, even though they've played before, they haven't played at this level before, at championship level right now. And did you feel at times that tonight it was a bit scrappy? At times it wasn't the best game to watch. Was it a lot of feeling out?
I think it was very scrappy in the first half. You're right. There was a lot of whistles in the first quarter. Both teams trying to figure out how's the game being officiated. Where are we going to be able to find our success? The Hawks went to Sam Froling early, which we expected. Chris Golding was quiet until the end of the game. So there was that feeling out process for sure. But you just felt that even with a 10-point margin at halftime, after the third quarter, if you had to pick a side, it's easier to say now would be Melbourne. But because of their experience, they really relied on their experience late.
Tatum would have expected a lot of things, but he wouldn't have expected Marcus Lee to go 7 for 7 and 15 rebounds. Marcus was great off the bench early, came in and led those guys in scoring and rebounding, and he mentioned after the game that my team needed me to rebound. Again, rebounding is massive. When you have more rebounds than the other team and you got great shooters, you generally get a win.
Wani Swakala-Bullock, now we spoke about it during the game. The way that he was guarding Chris Golding, we always talk about CG43 being able to make these, incredibly tough shots and just knock them down. There wasn't even the chance to do that, especially in the first half. Now, he hit some pretty tough shots in the second, but Wani did a fantastic job on him tonight.
Looking forward to breaking that down on overtime and in the pregame on Wednesday. Wani Swakala-Bullock does a terrific job of not getting screened. When we go back and watch this, he hides behind Chris Golding to just arrive on the catch. Now, that's one way to really try and nullify Golding's effect. The problem is when he went off for a little bit, Chris hit a couple of tough ones, and then all of a sudden gets to the free throw line, knocks down a couple to seal the game. So Wani did a terrific job. It's not him on his own. I thought Sam Froling did a great job hedging out on ball screens. There are certain ways they had an advantage against trying to slow down Chris Golding, but the problem was the way they were guarding him. Wani was often literally sitting on his lap in the corner, and you could tell Dean Vickerman said to Shea Ili and Delhi in particular, be aggressive. You've got so much space to work with. Delhi took, 6 field goal attempts in the first 3 minutes. You could tell that was an instruction from Dean Vickerman.
Well, I'm not going to take credit for this, but I did say run him off the 3-point line. They did that. I did say the big had to get up, and they did that. Every time Chris Golding got the ball, there was somebody in his face. And at one time, there were 3 guys guarding him. Shea Ili and Dellavedova did a good job of trying to get to the basket and take jump shots and get them going. But I thought that first half, Tatum ran the show like he should have, and that's why they had that lead at halftime.
Would you guys agree with me that tonight the crowd didn't bring the level of intensity, and at times it was, they weren't hitting the same shots as they were in Game 3. But I just thought there was a period when the game got tight late that I thought this crowd was really start roaring and push them over the edge. I don't know what sapped the energy out of them tonight, emotional hangover from Game 3 maybe, but I just think that this crowd, and maybe when it comes back for Game 3 they'll bring it, but I didn't feel that same incredible intensity. It was hostile at times, more in the first half, but late in the second half I just thought, when is this big bang going to come? And it didn't.
Dean Vickerman did say when he was talking about this matchup the other day after practice was how he needs to not give them a reason, the crowd. Don't antagonise the crowd, give them a reason to get on your case. And I thought Melbourne United, as I highlighted in the whiteboard from the start, was to be self-disciplined, and they did that. They didn't give the crowd a reason to really jump on. We talk about the flop counts, all of that. There was none of that for them to really bring their energy. So if you're an Illawarra fan, you've got to forget all that. Your team's in a championship series. You've got to have that same energy we saw on Wednesday night, because even though we were all expecting it, the players are expecting it. The players need that to get behind. And it is just one game. They'll be loud in game 3, but compared to Wednesday night, it was definitely a little different.
Well, Southeast Melbourne came in here, and the Hawks jumped on them straight away. So the crowd were really into it.
Yeah.
They didn't do that to Melbourne. Melbourne are, like I said, a veteran team with a lot of guys that you have to respect. And they knew Chris Golding was going to eventually get going. He didn't shine, but he was good enough to let you know, when I get home, I'm going to be very good.
We're going to preview on NBL Overtime, the game coming up and all that, so I sort of want to focus in on what we saw today. Who was the one guy, well, you'd probably say Trey Cal for Illawarra was the one guy where, hey, you need to snap him out of it. But the one good thing for Illawarra fans is, hey, we saw that in game 2 of the semi-final series of the playoffs, and then he bounced back in big fashion.
Yeah, 34 minutes, 3 of 11, just 6 points. Did have 6 rebounds, 4 assists. But again, I know what you're alluding to, where he did bounce back and he put that game to bed by quarter time against the Phoenix. The Phoenix defensive guards are not United's defensive guards. So if he thinks that he can go in there and just flick a switch, that's not going to happen. He's got to dig deep and do what he does. What I didn't see so much in this game was he's been very poised this season of picking his moments, getting to his spot. Whether it's a slow post up, whether it's just dribbling off the on ball, rising up for the mid-range, just picking his moments better, I think that's where he can be effective, because this is an all-NBL first team. He's one of the best guards in the league. You know he's going to come and bounce back. But if you think that Shea and Matthew Dellavedova are going to take a backward step, that's not going to happen.
Absolutely. And the one good thing that stood out for me with the Hawks is they're scoring off the bench. 46 points off the bench. Todd Blanchfield, again, was fantastic the way he came in and shot the ball. Lee was great when he shot the ball. So if they can look forward to that and get their starters going, then it'll be a much different game.
There's no major alarm bells at the moment for the Hawks. Melbourne came in full of finals experience, the taste of defeat last year still in their mouth. They came in just hungrier to get it. There was nothing from the Hawks that led me to believe, hey, there's a massive matchup issue here, or there's any major alarm bells ringing.
No, there isn't. Again, it's a long series. I know it's one game, but you'll have plenty to figure out. They'll go back and watch tape. Justin Tatum has the... he's happy.
Get it out, come on.
He's happy that he has so many different options he can go to off his bench. So whatever that is, I'm sure they're going to be perfectly fine and poised to make a run in game 2. But again, this is where veteran leadership steps up. In the second half, you saw that poise from Melbourne United, from Delhi, from Shea Ili. Chris Golding hit a couple of big threes late. You can't rattle Melbourne, and that's what the Hawks have been very good at doing, is rattling their opponents so far this season.
Experience won this game. Those guys have been here and done it the last 3 or 4 years. They know what it takes to win a championship, and they came in here. The crowd was going to be hostile. It didn't matter. They held their heads and won the game.
Jack White at the free throw line. Tonight, that's the one thing I was expecting at some point down the stretch for them to foul Jack, and they didn't. He was 1 for 4 from tonight, missed his first 2, was then controversially, we were discussing, subbed out of the game right after those free throws. Talk me through...
Which you didn't think was a great idea.
Talk me through the psyche behind that.
I mean, he did hit his last one, and there was nothing but net.
But he missed the one right before that.
The first 2 where he ended up giving away burgers, they were both very short. He came off, he looked great, he was high-fiving everyone, but if I'm coaching, ripping him straight off after he's missed 2 after everything in the last series, that can probably do a lot more damage to the mental side of the free throws than anything else. But credit to him, he came back in, he had a couple of big lobs, dunk finishes, and again, we keep sitting here. I'm shocked that he had 2 backdoor dunks, and they didn't hack him.
Right.
That's just the veteran experience. If that's the other side, you don't think that Delhi's absolutely hacking to send someone to the free throw line. So that's what the veterans do. They just know how to play the game.
You want to make a comment on free throws, Lanard? You never missed them in the clutch, did you? So it's hard for you to
we've all missed
free
free throws. We've all missed free throws.
Yeah, ask Gazy. I missed a couple.
We heard about it.
Okay, heading into game 2 in Melbourne on Wednesday night, what's the biggest change that the Illawarra Hawks need to make?
I mean, they were very physical, but I think just switching up some of their offensive sets, maybe it's even getting a Todd Blanchfield or Days into the starting lineup. It's probably too early to throw it all out and make massive, drastic changes, but you know that's going to space the floor more than Mason Peatling on the floor. Maybe that gives Trey Kell more space to operate, Tyler Harvey more space to operate, because the defense is going to gravitate towards Blanchfield or Days.
Yeah, you're right. You got to get those 2 guards going early. I thought Swakala Bullock did a great job of going at Chris Golding early, getting him in foul trouble. He sat on that bench the whole first quarter. So if you can go at those guys and get them going, then you give yourself a chance.
Fantastic work from both of you two tonight, the major broadcast team. Everyone behind the scenes, a fantastic job. We're going to be back for game 2. Can Illawarra sneak it back, or will Melbourne United take a 2-0 lead? We'll find out. Thanks for tuning into NBL Now.